Welcome back, everybody, to the Nerdcore Podcast, the podcast that reviews movies and talks that nerd shit. This is episode 564, and it is your review of Boat People. And it is the Nerd Chicano here alongside my actual co host of this show. That's right, he's back from God knows where. Brad
God
is
knows where.
back.
Back to the future.
Yeah, Brad is back, and all is well, right?
All I gotta say is, sup, everybody. Welcome to a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Monday. It is Monday.
Yeah, it's a Monday. We're back on Mondays.
On a
Back on
Monday.
Monday. Yep. We're back on Mondays live for our patrons early before the public receives this episode on a Tuesday. But of course, before we get into our continuation of Ann Hui Month, as we celebrate Women's History Month, that is going to bleed over into April, I want to ask Brad, what's up? How are you doing, man?
I'm back. Probably not better than ever, but hey, you get what you get. So, I'm not gonna go into full blown stories because I got a lot of stories. I'll save that for the live show.
Yeah.
Because there are bits and pieces I'm sure Raul wants to hear about, especially some interactions at Disneyland, which I don't know. I'm just not a big theme park person, I don't think. Especially when there's no roller coasters.
Wait, you're telling me Disneyland doesn't have roller coasters?
Disneyland has one roller coaster.
Damn.
Like, they got rides and shit.
Bro,
Like,
you
don't
should
get
have
me
just gone to
wrong.
Florida, bro.
Like, well, apparently there's one in California. It's Magic Mountain. That's where all the roller coasters are. So we went to the wrong place.
Damn. That really sucks for your first time going to Disneyland. You didn't even get to do the roller coaster.
I rode basically all the rides I kind of wanted to. So like okay, Star Wars Land, pretty
Badass.
cool. And Rise of the Resistance, that ride's pretty awesome, but man, the lines ain't worth it. That shit ain't worth it, bro. And every time I got into a line, it just pissed me off more.
Did you get to make your own lightsaber at least?
Brenda made a droid, and I was not waiting in that line or paying that much money for a lightsaber that I don't know what the fuck I was going to do with. Also, I didn't want to walk around the park with a lightsaber the whole goddamn time.
True, this is true. Well, I mean, hey man, one of us had to go visit Galaxy's Edge, and I always wanted. Yep.
I mean, it's cool. Like, don't get me wrong. You walk in there, and you're like, whoa, and then you see like the Millennium Falcon sitting there, like, god damn, that's cool. But at the same time, don't go in fucking spring break.
Yeah, that's actually a really good piece of advice, dude.
Yeah, I need to talk to my planner there because they fucked up.
Yeah. When are you gonna go ahead and visit Super Mario Land now?
So we went to Universal the first day.
Yeah.
We didn't know you had to buy a separate pass to go in to Super Mario Land.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, because it's so new, you had to buy a separate pass. So here's the thing is, like, the park at Universal was sold out. We had got tickets a while ago back. It was sold out.
Mm-hmm.
We went to parking, $70 in parking before we even hit the door.
Jesus.
Then, of course, you got to show your tickets. And then you go in there, and we ate at, like, Krusty Burger. Got a burger and got a Duff beer. All told, with mine and Brenda's meal, she had an alcoholic drink and a burger, or she had the hot dog. It was $64.
Jesus Christ.
For all that. And
in
Universal and in Disney, like, you watch all, like, I was watching TikToks, don't get me wrong. You watch all these TikToks and these people going, oh, this is amazing food. This is great. You should try this. I tried all that shit. That shit was subpar. That shit was cafeteria food. I want my money back. I will tell you the best meals I had this whole trip was when I left. I went to El Centro, California. I went into a little Mexican hole in the wall. I walked in there, and I knew it was going to be great because it was all Mexican people.
and
it was great. Damn. It was great barbacoa. So,
and you said, "Damn, I really miss Raul."
Yeah. And then in Maricopa, We went. We had to charge the car up at some like outlet mall, and they had a food truck there, Mexican food truck. They had a birria burrito.
Oh my
That
god.
shit was fire.
So
It was
yeah, you just
cool.
you got scammed at
Yeah,
Disneyland and
yeah. Like it ain't worth it. I mean, there's not really a lot of rides. The Harry Potter ride was cool. The one
yeah,
where you like sit in like a coach thing and it throws you around. That one was cool. But it didn't seem worth it. And I will say Anaheim though. Anaheim might be worth it to visit and just eat at and go look at places, but not to go
yeah,
to Disneyland or Universal.
yeah. Well, man, I'm just glad you're back because I missed you. And,
Oh, thank you,
you
Raul.
know, fuck, man, I had nothing to do for 2 weeks. Well, I mean, I did have something to do,
You had
okay?
shit to do. You can find shit to do.
Yeah, I've been doing shit, but, like, it's like, damn, bro. It's around the time that I get on with Brad. Like, what the fuck, man? But the difference is, Brad upgrades his computer and his setup. I just watched a lot of movies.
Well, I mean, so I was kind of enjoying the little break, like for at least the past week, not during when I was actually on vacation.
Yeah.
I visited with my aunts and stuff, but the minute I watched this movie, I was like, I really want to talk to Raul about this.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty sure you would have been kind of mad if you weren't able to get on tonight, huh?
Yeah, yeah, because like this movie
Yeah.
deserves to be talked about.
Yeah. And well, that leads us perfectly into our review then. So, my friends, we are going to go ahead and talk about this film. So, if you have not watched Anway's Boat People, it is available on Criterion Channel, so you can go watch it there. And this is a reminder to you all that if you haven't watched it, you want to get out of here. If you do, if you have watched it, or you just don't care about spoilers, you can go ahead and stay. Either way, how it goes, this is your one and only spoiler warning, and it is in effect in a five, four, three, two. Oh crap! I had on the wrong profile. One. Yeah, I was like,
Hey,
why
that's
am I
okay.
about?
That's okay. There was a pause.
Yeah,
I
I
think
was
had
a
you gone one and then hit it, you would have got it.
Well, if I would have hit one, this is what it would have looked like. I
Oh,
would have hit my
we went
lights.
dark, going dark.
Yeah, I would have hit my lights. Well, Brad, I'm gonna read the Wikipedia page, but I'm also gonna read this really nicely written introduction from Criterion because they have a better introduction. Because what the hell, man? Like this barely has any information here. Boat people and the literal translation of the Cantonese title is "Into the Raging Sea." Is a Hong Kong film directed by Ann Hui, first shown in theaters in 1982. The film stars George Lam, Andy Lau, Cora Mayo, yeah, I don't know how to say that, and Season Ma. And at the second Hong Kong Film Awards, both people won awards for Best Picture, Best Director, Best New Performer, Best Screenplay, and Best Art Direction. It was screened. It was also screened out of competition at the 1983 Cannes Film Festival. In 2005, the 24th Hong Kong Film Awards, both people was awards. Oh, it doesn't say what it won at that award. Like, was it a lifetime achievement award or something?
What at the con?
No, in 2005 at the 24th Hong Kong Film Awards, both
Boat People
people
is ranked eighth.
ranked. Oh, that's a comma, not a period. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's okay.
Both people was ranked eighth in the list of 103 best Chinese language films in the past 100 years. Man, it's been a while since I've had bread here.
So you hear that sentence and you go, "Why haven't I heard of An Hui before?"
Yeah, Wei. Remember, it's Wei.
On Way, sorry, On Way.
Yeah, yeah. Both People was the last film in Wei's Vietnam trilogy. It recounts the plight of the Vietnamese people after the communist takeover following the fall of Saigon, ending the Vietnam War. Uh, Also, apparently, there was like, what's it called? The title's kind of misleading because this movie isn't actually about like the Vietnamese boat people who were like the people who were emigrating out of Vietnam at this time. Instead, it's talking about the situations that led to them
Hmm.
leaving Vietnam. So it's like, but then again, I don't know how you market in the America Into the Raging Sea without thinking it's going to be like some
Yeah, so
action film or something.
well, or like the Stephen King film about the actual raging sea.
Yeah, yeah. And this is the introduction for Criterion, y'all. One of the preeminent works of the Hong Kong New Wave, Boat People is a shattering look at the circumstances that drove hundreds of thousands of Vietnamese refugees to flee their homeland in the wake of the Vietnam War. Told through images of haunting, unforgettable power, 3 years after the communist takeover, a Japanese photojournalist, George Lam travels to Vietnam to document the country's seemingly triumphant rebirth. When he befriends a teenage girl, Season Ma, and her destitute, destitute family, however, he begins to discover what the government doesn't want him to see: the brutal, often shocking reality of life in a country where political repression and property have forced many to resort to desperate measures in order to survive. Transcending polemic, renowned director An Hui takes a deeply humanistic approach to a harrowing and urgent subject with searing contemporary resonance. What's Criterion always has a way of making sure that you know these big words, because trying to pronounce some of these words is a fucking challenge and a half. But
They got to sound educated,
yeah,
more
yeah,
educated than us.
more educated than us. Yeah, yeah. If you wonder why I have so many cuts in my videos where I'm trying to pronounce the
But
intros to these movies, it's because I don't know how to pronounce some of these fucking words.
I don't know how to pronounce many people's names, so there you go.
Yeah. Brad, I'm gonna go ahead and throw it to you, man. It's been a while since you've been here. What are your initial thoughts on Boat People?
Boat People engrossed the hell out of me. I was just glued to this film the whole time. I was glued to this film. Um, I think it's amazing. I think for being an '82 film, it looks great. I'm guessing it had a restoration.
Oh yeah,
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 definitely had a restoration. Um, Part of me hopes that Vietnam kind of paid for part of this film, kind of like Russia did for Tarkovsky, just for for shits and giggles, which probably didn't happen, but
no,
uh, but the story just amazing. And when I texted you last night, I was like, this is like the real live edition or real life edition of Grave of the Fireflies. It's that just haunting in ways. Some of the imagery in this is just haunting, and it's just I think I gave the last film 9.5. This one's better. This one is above and beyond better in my eyes.
oof, man. Um, well, I mean, I already knew your thoughts because you texted me last night. But I mean, when I first heard about this movie, I was under the impression it was a documentary.
And
Um,
see, that's what I went in going in there, and then I was watching. I'm like, this is no
No,
documentary.
no, it's not. No, it's not. I swear, Brad, I thought it was a doc because people were like talking about this film when it was first announced for the collection when it was coming. They're like, "Oh, it's a doc," and I'm like, "Okay." Obviously, they didn't know what the fuck they were talking about because this isn't
No,
a doc at
definitely
all.
not a documentary. Although I love how you can. So me and Ron were having this conversation yesterday because we talk like that. Um, uh, but it's based. If this movie is based on interviews she had with the people who lived this, my God, it was horrific in Vietnam after the Vietnamese War.
Yeah, man. Um, yeah. So I read that she pretty much, what's it called? She approached the script by just interviewing a lot of people, and it I mean, I've seen it's what's it called? I'm sorry here. I'm trying to grab my thoughts here, but like I've seen Come and See, Brad.
Hmm.
Come and See is a very, very difficult film that I think that if you put it up to this, it's even more brutal than this movie.
I don't
And
disagree.
and that movie, uh, when it premiered, somebody in the crowd got up and literally said it was worse than that. And if you have seen Come and See, it
It's
really
pretty
makes
bad.
you wonder, like, oh my fucking god, like I can not even begin to imagine what the hell happened. But I went into this film, and I've got to say I was really amazed by what I watched on the screen. I mean, I don't think it's anywhere near being perfect, but I think that its faults are obviously what's it called overshadowed by just the way that Anway approaches the story. Because like at first it feels like a very like it it feels like a different movie, Brad, than the next half of the film.
Oh
Because you're
yeah,
like, okay, like it's just a photojournalist in Vietnam, and of course,
and he's
like if
having
you
a good
don't,
old time. Yeah, they're
yeah,
all happy, smiling kids, and then, but it's like an onion. You just start peeling away, and you realize, it's that's all just visuals. Be Before you get into the actual like, oh, this is what's actually happening, and then you get into the whole, oh, people are being sent away to do landmine duty, which is terrifying. That whole part of the film terrified the shit out of me because I'm like, I'm about to watch one of these dudes get fucking blown up. Because
yeah,
I mean, literally, they're like just poking in the ground with these steel rods, and it's just like, oh dear God, it's just Anne Wade doesn't she doesn't like shy away. Oh, are we? But Ro had to go. We need to edit. We'll quick cut that.
what's up, Brad?
We'll cut that part.
What do you mean? Why'd you
The one
stop?
where you gotta, cause like I'm trying to state here, like
Yeah,
Anne Wei doesn't shy away
no, she
from
doesn't.
anything. It's brutal. Like when they mention the chicken farm, like every time they hear a gunshot, they say, "Oh, chicken farm," and I'm like, "Oh, you're killing chickens with guns? All right."
Yeah,
And then you get there, and no, it's just soldiers who just randomly killed people.
yeah. And like I said at the beginning, it's like okay, it feels like a different film, and you're like, just something doesn't feel right here. And of course, I will say that y'all like I will not pretend to know everything about Vietnam. So I know everything basically until the Americans leave.
Yeah,
I
because it's never
was
really taught after that,
yeah
which
I'm not
is
yeah
which
I
is
wasn't
great from
really
Anne
sure
Wei
about
because
post war.
yeah, Anne Wei's gone in. The first one we watched was between, the Japanese occupation in China, which we
Yeah,
never hear about, and then this is Vietnam after the Vietnam War, which we never hear about. So she's literally touching on like stuff Americans like never hear of.
yeah. And you really do once the movie really starts to pick up, you really feel that shift in the tone, and things become more and more like harrowing as it goes. I will also say yes, they did a great job here with the what's it called with the restoration here. It's a 4K digital transfer, so it looks really good, and it really does bring out a lot of the good contrast in those. Like I really like every time he was like in a dark building, you had those shadows covering his face. Like I was like, oh man,
Hmm.
that looks really good.
I think there
Um,
was only one scene. I think it was the girl's face at nighttime where it looked kind of rough, but that was like it throughout the
yeah,
whole film.
yeah. Um, but I mean, they did a pretty good job with the visual, what's it called, representation here, and like the way that they approach like cinematography and everything like that. Uh, but I mean, Brad, I mean, what's it called? The moment where the shift changes, like when that kid just picks up that grenade and
And you're like, oh fuck, and then
fuck,
I'm expecting an off-camera,
no,
boom,
no,
and just her close-up face. No, this kid went gone, like just body parts everywhere, and it's just like, holy shit. And that's when I text you. I'm like, dear God, I just watched a kid get blown up in this film.
yeah. Um,
which
which
that I think that's the moment where I'm like, this is like Grave of the Fireflies depressing right here.
yeah, because then like of course, the landmine stuff was like freaking. Oh man, my
Brutal.
anxiety was at all time high with that, man.
And then so basically they focus on this 14-year-old and her family. She has two brothers, a younger brother, and then I think they're both younger, but
Yeah,
one's older than the other. The older one is the one who gets blown up. And then
yeah,
the mother ends up going into prostitution to, get food and stuff for her family because she's
yeah.
sick. So she can't work. And just that ending scene where she's brought out and she's like, confess to your kids and your neighbors on what you are. And she's like, nope, dignity. And like just stabbed herself in the neck with the iron hook. And, I thought we were just going to get that. But then Anne lingers on that for the whole falling with the
Yeah.
metal. And it's just like, oh dear. And it's just, it is, it's a horrifying. A lot of this film is just
Yeah, man.
horrifying.
And I mean, that's the way the end kind of really creates this script that makes you like wonder, like, my God, man, if this is even anywhere being the real like adaptation and like a real like true to source of what these people went through, it was fucking harrowing what was going on. I mean, because like you have them, saying like, "Oh, okay, yeah, everything's great," like, "Oh, we're in the NEZ, like the new economic
Hmm.
zones are great," and then he goes to the actual parts that aren't being fabricated and shows you that like people are being mistreated here. They're being worked to death. People are sleeping without any clothes on, like in barracks and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
it's just
Well, they're
it's
trying to hide gold and wounds. Like,
yeah,
holy God.
yeah. And people are forced to like ravage dead bodies for money and food because
Gold
the
teeth.
government refuses to do anything for them, and it's like, God, man.
Oh, the scene with the orphans, like it was supposed to be like, one of those planned scenes, and it just the orphans want to be held, and it's just like,
Yeah,
oh, we're getting a little bit like that outer shell is starting to crack. We're starting to
yeah,
see what this place is actually like, because that was the first hint of you like, oh, like this isn't all what that first 10 minutes of this film was, of happy singing children.
yeah. But then of course, like, even you see like, oh, they're starting to catch up on the fact that this photographer is not sticking to their plan. He's not photographing what they want him to photograph, and it's like, oh, they need to kill him. And like it's crazy because like you see it like they kind of struggle with the decision of wanting to kill this man, but
Well,
like,
they struggle with it because the man who was in charge appreciated the arts. I mean, he was
yeah,
definitely kind of cutthroat and all that, but he appreciated the arts to a point where he was letting him, until that scene where he gets sent off to. They say, yeah, he's going to be captain of whatever land over there, and you're like, oh. And then the way he's just getting carted off, you're like, this dude's probably getting killed. This dude's probably getting shot in the head.
yeah. I
for
love that
liking
he has to
for
act
liking the
drunk.
liking
Yeah,
French food too much.
yeah, and like I love how he has to act drunk so that way he can, what's it called, stall for these guards, and like the guards end up like still catching him. He's like, crap, and they shoot.
Well,
Fuck,
do
man.
you think, oh, he's getting away? Like they bought it, and then they just step out from behind that building and shoot that gas canister, and then the final just scenes of him, you know, just engulfed in flames, flailing around until he finally passes away. I mean, the visuals, like it definitely, like I said, Grave of the Fireflies esque, in that you watch the younger brother die, and then you watch the older brother just waste away, and you're like, God damn, this dude went through all this, and he I mean, the boat captain was OG though. Like I'll give him that. He's like, you ain't got diesel fuel, fuck it, get in.
Yeah, man. At the end, I was like, I was glad that guy was like, fuck it, just get in. Like,
Yeah, just hop in. Like God.
yeah. Um, but I'll have to also say, Brad, like what I did really like the use of color here. Like they really like when they were inside those bars and stuff. Man, that
Oh yeah.
stuff looked like that lighting was great. They did a great job there. Also, of course, kind of like separating the fact that like look how these what's it called, higher class people, like, oh, we're all good like this, like we all live like this, like no. And then you go into like the rural areas where like
And
where
just
what's it called, where the
dark.
people are actually the real people are actually living, and
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, no, they don't live like this, guys. Like this is like really messed up that they're fabricating things. And it reminded me a lot of like there was a period on YouTube where like a lot of YouTubers were getting like going to North Korea,
Mm-hmm.
but they were like only allowed to film in a specific part of North Korea.
Yeah, I
And
was getting that feeling too from this. It's just like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
it's
it's like
just
it
the same.
nothing is like what they show you, like there's
But
always,
nothing is allowed to exist unless they allow it to exist.
yeah, yeah. And like they said in the movie, they're like, we have to watch out for these photographs because it could tarnish like our country and like how we see ourselves and like,
Well,
you
I
know,
would
they,
imagine so, because he's literally taking like the first pictures he took where he got kicked in the face was a dude trying to outrun the police and then getting thrown off a building,
yeah. And
a
I
burning
felt like
building.
there,
Sorry.
to be honest, I feel like there's where the major like one of the beginning of the shifts of tone starts because I was like, okay, Anhui did not cut from here. Like she's watching as these people are bleeding, and like I was like, uh oh, like I feel like she might be onto something else because I thought when you texted me about the kid, I was like, does this happen like early in the film or something? Because like like it happens more to like towards the
Eh,
middle, and I'm like,
yeah,
holy
halfway.
shit, man! Like,
Yeah, like
it's
like that point on, it just keeps going. But
yeah,
also, she has these subtle moments that tells the tale also of just how very depressing Vietnam was after the Vietnam War for
yeah,
its citizens. So in the beginning they have this old man with boots, and he's
yeah,
like I killed this GI, I got these boots, I want to be buried with it. And then further in the film, you find out the old man died, and they just took his boots. They didn't bury him
yeah,
with it.
yeah. It's like in the end, they don't give a shit about the people who
No,
served.
subtle, very
No,
subtle, like things like that. And then you have like the very not subtle things of like the kid being blown up at the end, him being caught on fire, the mother being brought in, killing herself, and it's just
yeah.
like I'm just throwing shit. It's fine.
No, you're good. It's like also like callbacks to the monk who would set himself on fire right in the streets,
Oh, that
and
the one that was heart wrenching was when he's swimming to the boat and he
oh
makes it
yeah,
to the boat, and you're like, he's gonna get it, and then the lights cut on,
the
the
flare.
government's boats there, and they just fucking launch AK-47 rounds right
Yeah,
into everyone.
I did see that there was one guy who got off that ship. What's it called? Jumped and swam. Don't know if that guy got,
But
but
did you know? But you noticed he was probably swimming back to the prison, and that dude had cocked his gun. So that dude knew. That dude
yeah,
knew because he was going to kill anyone who made it back to the island.
yeah, but yeah, that was man, that was rough. But I think this film is I mean it's incredible. It's great great film. I don't think it's perfect. I think that there's stuff that I was like okay like maybe this movie for an hour and 46 minutes that it's long. I was like okay we might be going a little too slow here, but I know that this film, it's more special than it deserves, and it's a movie that, to me, I think that if you have a permission slip from a parent, I think that you should be shown this movie in high school. Just like the way I think that kids in high school should watch, come and see if they have a permission slip from a parent to be able to watch it. But these are the things that are really important to teach, and it's like why movies are really important because they remind you about things and teach you about things that you might have not known about.
Yeah.
So,
Unless
Brad,
you're in
what is your
Florida, then you
final?
don't get taught any of that.
Yep. What's your final verdict, Brad?
This movie is going to haunt me probably for years to come. I think it's incredible. I liked it better than the last one, which I gave a 9.5. So I got to give this one a 10.
All right, Brad's giving it a full 10, man. I cannot remember what I gave the last film,
I think
but
a
I
8,
think
7.
what's up?
I think it's 7 or 8.
I think it was like an 8, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was 8.
Well, I like this one better than last week's, but that's not to say that last week's was bad. I thought last
No,
week's was
last
pretty
week's was
damn good.
good.
Yeah. So far, she's two
This
for
has been a
two
good
for one.
month. I'm impressed for us going blind into this and just being like, yeah, this director.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and give On Ways both people a 9 out of 10, y'all. It's a damn good movie, and I'm really excited to see what else she brings to the table, man. I am very excited to see what we are gonna talk about when it comes to A Simple Life. Yeah, A Simple Life is the next one. I hope that if we can get access to more of her films, we can actually do another month because I do want to see what's left of this trilogy of Vietnam films that she's
Vietnam,
talking
yeah.
about.
Especially if
Yeah,
this was the last one. I'd like to know what the previous two were.
yeah. It looks like one of the people that was involved in the last one actually returned in this movie. So I don't know,
Yeah.
man. I mean, what's it called? She has a pretty extensive filmography, but it's about accessing it that's the problem. It's kind of difficult to find these movies. But we will be discussing A Simple Life next week as we continue on. We'll see what we can do on Thursday. We might just have to start knocking out some of these mini pods, though. Fuck. All I know is that Luis and I will be recording a review of Dungeons and Dragons later in the week, and that'll be up on Monday next week. So if you're listening to this right now, make sure you check out Luis and I's review of John Wick Chapter 4. It's up on the YouTube already, so check that out. But we want to thank you all so much for joining this review of Bow People. And of course, we want you all to check us out on all social media platforms, like our website, thenerdcore.com, Twitter at the nerdcore underscore, Instagram at the nerdcore, patreon.com/the nerdcore, so you can get this episode early and live for just $1 a month. Plus, if you want to come and talk to us about this movie, because you probably have already seen it, check out our Discord. It's linked in the description of both the audio and video version. But speaking about the video and audio versions, if you're watching on YouTube, please leave a like on this video. Please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single piece of content that drops on the channel. We would appreciate it a lot. Plus, tell us in the comments if you like Bow People. Do you own the Criterion version? It would be nice to find out about some of the special features that are in that version. Also, if you're listening to us on the audio side of things, leave a 5-star review on the app that lets you do that. So I know that you can do that on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. So it would be much appreciated, my friends. We also want to thank our wonderful Patreon supporters because without them, this is not possible. Brad, you want to let them know about our wonderful producer, Shane?
You can follow our friend Shane at twitch.tv/xsrk or on Twitter at thriftedil, or go buy something from the Suppy God at prisoncityvintage.com. See, going on for 2 weeks, I still can do it.
That's right. Crest Hill, Illinois, for the store in person.
Shout out to Shane. I hear they put in an offer on a house. That man is doing big things.
And a new store.
And a new store.
Yep, he's moving locations, bro.
Man, I need
Yep.
it. We need to bring back a shirt company so he can sell it in his store.
I mean, yeah, man. Oh my god. Um. So, my friends, I hope that you all had a wonderful time, and I want to thank Brad for being back on with me. Even though I left him for a minute to open the door for a dog who would not stop knocking on my door, but it's
But
okay.
literally just like knock, knock, knock.
Yeah, she just goes, mm. I'm
Mm,
like,
your
damn,
motherfucking
damn
door.
dog. But with that said, bro, let's go ahead and get out of here. Brad, please send them out.
All right, Raul. Thank you, host, as always. Thank you to all those who listen to us in the future. And all our listeners out there, all our patrons, supporters, we appreciate each and every one of you. And I guess to end this episode, I'll say educate yourself before they make it illegal. Young Yoda out.